Yo, all right, okay. This is Shields Ministry. We gonna get it popping today with Jay International. We got a new call coming today. Just to introduce y'all that's new right now, just to let y'all know that this is a disclaimer, right? Everything that's gonna be said here is a situation where we're gonna keep it in house, right? So everything is gonna be talked about is going to be gradual. We want both sides. The objective of this whole conversation is that you can hear a female's perspective and a male's perspective. But this show today is talking about the passport bros, right? So we're going to have the face of travel. He's gonna be on and he's gonna be able to share his his story of everything that he got going on. We don't have that much time, so I'm gonna try to see if I could actually get him on right now. Let's see, add as the moderator. How do I you got a request to go live. Let me see. There you go, perfect. So again, if y'all have any questions, y'all can put them in the comments. But at the end of the day, this should be a real good one, man. So I'm gonna wait for him to join. He was talking about his internet, but everything gonna be good. They go Jay
What up?
International, the face
Hey,
of
what?
travel, baby.
Hey, what up, though, man? I'm trying to, get through it, man. I'm far away, man, and where I'm at, the internet be acting crazy, man. So, but we here
Hey,
right now. You feel me?
and we in here, we in here. So look, I know other people are joining, right? And so as they are coming on in, we just want to make sure that we all on the same page. Let me
Yeah.
Let me let other people come on in. Let me see, 051305. I know Rome them talking about coming on in. Let me see, boom. There we
What
go.
up, though, Ron? What up, though, everybody?
Okay, so I know I'm delayed right here. Let me mute this right quick. Let me turn this down. Okay, perfect. Okay, Jay, hey, Jay, this is what we're gonna do. The face of trouble. We're gonna kick this thing off now. Let me request. Let me see. Let me request right here to go live. Okay, so I'm gonna do this while you talking, right? We're just gonna kick it off like this, right? So just tell us, we gonna introduce yourself. Just like it is. Just introduce yourself, wow.
Hey, what up, though, man? This the James Lil Washington Fifth, aka the Face of Travel, man. I'm originally from Pontiac, Michigan, but I kind of ventured off, man, to different spots in Michigan. But by the time that I got to high school, I spent a lot of my time on the west side of Detroit, on Outer Drive and Illinois, and up in that area. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what it is, man. And my traveling journey started my international journey started in 2002 when I went to Rio, when Rio really was Rio. You know what I mean? But how I got really inspired to travel, I was a little kid living in Kalamazoo, Michigan. For y'all that don't know what Kalamazoo, Michigan is, that's right the midpoint between Detroit and Chicago. I stayed up there for a short time, and because my father was working at General Motors, and they had this program where he can go back to school and still get his regular paycheck. So he ended up getting cool with this Indian guy, which was strange to me because my dad is street dude. You know what I mean? I'm like, how do you get me friend this Indian dude? You know what I mean? And he trusted him enough to babysit him while him and my mom went out to hang out. And I remember him telling me about his culture, and he showing me the Buddha because that's what they was worshiping over there. And from as a little child, it sparked an interest in me. Then by the time I got to high school, I went to a high school called St. Mary's. It was a Catholic league back in the day. I know some of these schools have closed down over the years, but anybody from Detroit or Detroit area, we was in the Catholic league with Detroit the Poors and Holy Redeemer. So we was playing sports in high school, and I went to school with a lot of folks that was wealthy, and they was talking about that experience. So the travel thing just built up. So that's kind of like a quick synopsis or a background of how I started to really want to do the
Right.
international thing.
So get me to and take me to your first time out the country. How did it happen?
Oh, oh man, dog, man, my best friend, he treats. Oh man, hopefully he can tap in. What up, though, Antonio? I was at Alabama A&M, man, out in Huntsville. You feel me? And uh, I met these cool dudes from the ATL. So Labor Day weekend 2001. We no, let me see, was it Labor Day weekend? Yeah, Labor Day weekend 2001. We shot out to ATL, and we was out in the suburb called Stone Mountain. And my boy mama had the Ebony magazine, you know, back in the day when everything on the internet, but you could read the magazine. So I'm reading through the Ebony magazine, and they had a advertisement for Rio. And I looked at it, I said, I'm gonna go there. And at that time, the only thing I knew about Rio is for those from my era, our era, Ja Rule had a video called Holla Holla, and half of it was in Rio. So I was a little bit familiar from that music video. So I took that article, you know, I'm a wild boy, so I ripped it out my homeboy mother magazine, and I went back to college. I went back to the dormitory, and I put it up, and I said I was gonna go to Brazil. You know what I mean? I had to stack up for it. I had a best friend named Antonio. He was from the South Side of Chicago, the low end. And he said, look, bro, I don't even know where Brazil is, you know what I mean? But I believe in what you're trying to do, and we gonna go to we gonna go to Rio de Janeiro. So I stacked up the whole year, and by the time spring break came, homie, I had enough money to go to Rio. And it was crazy, man, because at that time I had to learn how to get a passport. I got a travel agency at that time. She's like, you need a visa to go. I'm like, I don't want to get no credit card to go to no Brazil. She's like, nah, bro, not a credit card, I made a visa. So I'm younger to travel. I didn't know about you needed a visa to get into certain countries. So that's how I popped off, bro.
What year was this?
This was 2002, man. So this was, man, what is it, 2024? About 22 years ago. I was only 20 years old at the
Yes,
time.
sir.
So
Okay.
in far
So if you could,
huh?
if you could take us back to as soon as you walked off the plane, what was the feeling?
Oh, bro, that's a great question, man. I ain't never been asked that. Man, it feels so good, bro. I didn't know. I couldn't believe I was there. I thought it was a dream. I'm like, man, somebody tapped me to wake me up. You feel me? But it was real life, and I'll never forget. Everybody know Brazil was known for the beautiful ladies, man. So I remember I got off, man. I seen this woman so fine, my eyes hurt, man. And my best friend was like, yo, man, pay attention, we just get it here, but I couldn't even concentrate, man. She was so cold, man. And so when I seen her, I said, man, I thought I died and went to heaven, man. You know?
So okay. So after you saw the fine women, what did you do other than that? Did you do Christ the Redeemer? What did you do tours wise the first time you were there?
At this time, you gotta understand, I really did everything off the muscle with this era. You gotta keep in mind, you know, we from the same era. The internet was there, but it was in the early stages. So it was a little more difficult to do the research. So I did everything off the muscle. Man, I did know about the Christ Redeemer, but what happened was when me and my best friend got down there, we figured things out on our own. So I ended up meeting this dude named CeeLo. What up, though, CeeLo? You know, he was a native from Rio, but he had mastered the English language, and we were able to communicate. And we just, man, we just started going to places off the muscle, man. Then it was a group of other Americans that were older at that time. I was, like I said, I was 20. I ran into some guys that were probably in their mid 30s that had been going back and forth, and they was taking me around. So actually, the Christ Redeemer, I don't even think I got to the Christ Redeemer maybe until like the third day in. Man, they was just taking me to all type of spots, man. We was going here and there, man. I was just going off the grizzle, man.
Okay,
You know, at that time I didn't have no plan like that.
okay. So I know we don't have a lot of time, and I see a lot of my boys coming in here as well. What's up? It was good, quick. I see a couple people. So look, tell us this. How did we switch over though? Tell us how, like what? Okay, so after Rio, where else did you go? Tell us a little bit more about your most memorable trip. Let's dive us in. We all here. Dive us in, G.
Hey, okay, what up, though? My most memorable trip, that's crazy because I had so many of them. I've been doing this so long. But I know we touched on Rio, but I gotta say Rio will always be the most memorable because that's the trip that opened me up. And because when I was in Rio, I said I can believe I can go anywhere that I want to go. You know what I'm saying? Like even anybody that was at Alabama A&M with me in that era, they would remember me coming back and talking about it. So what happened was it was engraved in me. But I think the next time that I went on a trip internationally was actually, this was 2002. 2004 was the next time I went out of the country again. My cousin Stephen, what up though, Stephen? You know, he was excited that I was graduating college, and he said, I'm gonna take you on a cruise for graduation. I said, for sure. You know what I mean? So he said, just meet me in New Orleans. So I was in the South at the time. So I just drove up I-10, been in New Orleans. Then I got the opportunity to go to Jamaica. And I went to Jamaica, Cozumel, Mexico. We supposed to have went to the Cayman Islands, but they had the hurricane. You feel me? So we weren't able to make it there. So that's I did that. Then I took another trip May 2005 and I went to Trinidad. So then was some of my earlier trips between '02 and '05. And once I got that bug, I said, I'm gonna see the whole world. And I never stopped. So I've been doing it 22 years straight. And at the time when I was traveling, what was different about it, now, because you see the merger of social media, I see my people traveling a little more. I say about 2015, 16, that's when I start seeing a lot of black Americans moving around. But a lot of times I would be places and it wasn't really, I'd be by myself. The only people that I might run into is that look like me. Maybe they was in the military or someone's playing sports overseas. But I've had experiences being in countries I was the only black person there.
So give us one of the most misconceptions when black people go out the country.
Oh, one of the biggest misconceptions when black people go out the country. Man, that's a great question. I never even. Let me see. A misconception. I think the fear factor. I mean, a lot of people, used to be fearful of me going all these particular places, but anything that's happened to me negatively in terms of any form of violence have been in the United States of America. I haven't really had any violent interactions, abroad. The only time that I was a little hesitant and I felt a little scary abroad was when I was in Moscow, Russia. But Russia can be an intimidating place. But even in that, nothing happened to me negatively. You know what I'm saying? As you see, I'm here now. You know what I mean? I'm overseas speaking to you as we talk, and I'm good.
Okay, speak on that. Where you at right now, and what time is it?
Oh, it's right now it's about hold on, let me double check. It's 3:30 in the morning. I'm in the country of Jordan.
You in Jordan? Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing. Okay,
yeah, and it's yeah. I don't want to get too deep in that for various reasons, but we're not too far from Palestine. But the media will let it know that everybody getting bombed up, but I'm good. We having a conversation. You know what I mean?
so how long you been over there in Jordan?
I've been in Jordan. I've been here since September. Years ago, my cousin out of Oklahoma, he introduced me to defense contract work because he was prior military. I've never been in the military. Some people automatically assume because I traveled around, it was because I joined the military. I got love for the military. I've worked with them many years. We've done business, but I've never personally been in the military. It was my cousin that introduced me to it, and because I had traveled those few countries beforehand, I didn't have the fear of going overseas. I could set up anywhere. I can call. I'm a global citizen, so I can go anywhere and set up shop and it be home. Put me in Sydney, I'll make that home. You know what I'm saying? Or put me in Compton, that's gonna be home. I don't have no problem making a place home.
So let's dive into that real quick because I got a couple more questions before we get into the passport stuff. Right. So tell me specifically because I hear a lot of rumors even when I went, but if you go to Brazil or if you go to the favelas in Brazil or if you go to Colombia with El Chapo and them, El Pablo and them, tell me what's the work because that's all we see here in the movies. We see all the cocaine and the drug and the cartels. Tell us any interaction that you had with that. Did they accept you? Did they embrace you? Is it all Hispanics? Give us a breakdown of the slavery trade that you saw in some of these places and what it's like. Give us some history, Jay. I mean,
Oh yeah, you know me. I love that history, man. But that's what opened. Anybody that know me personally, I've always been a reader. But Brazil, I'll never forget my first trip in Rio. I met this dude from Chicago. Shout out to Chicago. That's like my second home. And I can't remember the dude name. Like I said, that was 22 years ago. But he was he was the one that put me on. He started talking about history, and he said because I was in like I said I was in Rio, and he said a lot of people don't know though the ones that came through the Atlantic slave trade, a great majority of them came to Brazil, and at that time I learned that Brazil had the highest amount of Africans outside of Africa, and in Brazil, man, is more Negroes in Brazil than in Harlem in the 20s and on the east side of Detroit or the south side of Chicago. They were everywhere, and especially are concentrated in an area called Salvador da Bahia. And I ended up going to the Bahia in 2012. For y'all that are familiar with what up Detroit? Well, what up though? I see you. For those that are familiar with Bahia. Bahia. Michael Jackson did the video. They don't care about us. That's where he did it at. He did it in Salvador, the Bahia. So it's a lot of rich African history in South America. Now, as far as the favelas, I've been to the favelas, but anybody know me, man. It's all how you carry yourself. I go everywhere respectful, and I understand the culture. So I don't go nowhere disrespecting people. So I never had any problems anywhere. And as far as people talk about cartels in South America and all that, I don't sell dope. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't got no issue with no cartel. I ain't going up there to pick up no bricks. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times when people get themselves in trouble or involved in things because they involved in certain stuff. A lot of times cartels or whatever they say, they might own a lot of places, so they getting money off you coming down there vacationing and kicking it. So I haven't had no problems. I've been all through the favelas. I'm not saying go somewhere and go out the way and go to the hood. I do those type of things because it's just who I am. I'm a personality. I want to see everything just as much as I want to see the Eiffel Tower in Paris. I might slide through the projects. That's just my personality. You know what I mean?
So tell us about the Holy Land. Then when you went to Israel, and you said you're in Jordan. So tell us a little bit more about the biblical history of the places you went before we dive.
Wow, that's a great question because everybody has a right to believe what they believe, but actually for me, my beliefs became stronger going to these particular places. Like I said, I've been to Israel, I've been to Palestine, I've been to in the Bible where it talks about Jericho when Joshua and them walked around Jericho and the walls fell. I actually been to these particular areas, but I got a crazy story, and this is another thing as far as traveling around the world, melanated as they say, or black, or whatever word is you want to use. I'll never forget. One time I was in Atlanta, Rome. He remembered this. What up, though? Because I used to come back in the country, shoot through ATL, go holler at Rome and stuff like that. And I met this Israeli girl. I forget her now. Thank you. It didn't come back to me, but I met her in Atlanta, and she said she was from over there in Israel. So I said, bet, we let's exchange information, and I'm gonna come over there and holler at you because I want to come over there and see it. You know what I mean? So I finally got over there. I think I went to Israel in 2012 or 2013. And when I landed in Tel Aviv, it was kind of crazy at that time because for those that understand the politics in that region, they always been at disagreements, man. They've been the holy world since the beginning of time. There's always been problems over there. So I had stamps from all they quote unquote countries that had beef with. Matter of fact, I was in Lebanon the week before. You know what I mean? No, I don't know. Take that back. I went to Beirut, Lebanon the following week. I'm going to interject that in a minute, how it affected me for going to Israel. So I get to Israel. I'm there for about 7 days, man. I get there, Brian. It's amazing, man. It's beautiful. I go all over Tel Aviv. I go to Jerusalem. So the young lady that I met, she taking me around. So we get to Jerusalem, and I said, "Look, I'm about to go over to Palestine. You want to row?" And she looked at me like, "I can't go over there. They see me, that they had killed me." I was like, "Dang, like that's crazy." But she said, "You good?" I said, "Well, if they gonna do that to you, you need to stay where you at." You know what I mean? So I jumped in the taxi. I went over there, no issue. So they taking me to Jericho, and I'll never forget. The Jericho was guarded by these two guards, man. They had them, I think, M16s on them. And I remember the taxi driver saying, they was like, "Who you got with you?" And he pointed at my skin. He said, "Merrick, he good, he good." And I said, "Man," he pointed. They said, "Oh, okay, okay." So once he looked at me, seeing that I was my color, you know what I mean? He said, "Man, you straight." So I go into Jericho, and I'm tripped out because I'm thinking I'm back at the crib. I see beautiful little black kids going around everywhere. It was crazy, man. They feeding me good. I'm eating chicken. I'm thinking I'm on Belle Isle or something. You know what I mean? Back at the crib, and it was just all love. So seeing these particular things, my belief system, it just enhanced. You know what I mean? Like I've been to Egypt multiple times. I went to Mount Sinai where Moses went up there and got the 10 Commandments. I actually climbed that mountain. Anybody that check out my Instagram, The Face of Travel, you can see the video. I got a video when I made it to the top, and it was unbelievable. It took me 12 hours to get up there. I slept on the side of a mountain because I had to climb up there all night. So a lot of the places that you read about in the Bible I have actually been to. You know what I mean? All from Greece to Rome, Ethiopia. Ethiopia was the first country that I traveled to in Africa. And when I got to Ethiopia, man, I thought I was I thought Bible study. I thought about to see King David or Solomon. Be like, what up, though, Solomon? You know, it was crazy. You know what I mean? So the traveling just impacted me in a whole different way. You know what I mean?
But let me break it down because we don't have that much time. So tell us about. I heard you say the woman travel. She was your travel guide, and it was some bad women in Brazil. So tell me about the women in general overseas, opposed to the women here in the States.
You know what's so crazy? I'm glad you brought that up because people always automatically assume since I spent so many years abroad and I've been around so many beautiful women from Cape Verde all the way up to Fiji and all these places that I automatically want to marry a foreign woman. You know what I mean? That's the, you know, then I see a lot of, I've heard that as far as the passport bros, I've heard about them. I'm not that familiar with them, but I've heard some of the things that they saying. And I'm going to say it like this, bro. You know, a lot of people be out here capping and telling these fairy tale stories, bro. I'm a man. I love women, but it's all about culture. You see what I'm saying? So I remember going to Ethiopia. Ethiopia is known for having some very exotic, a very beautiful woman, right? But when I got there, I noticed that I respected their culture, but it was I didn't the culture didn't it wasn't I didn't really mess with the culture enough to be like, man, I want to marry this Ethiopian woman. I wasn't a big fan of their food. It just wasn't rocking that way. So for me saying that when you go in places it ain't just about the foreign woman versus the American woman. It's all about the culture. You see what I'm saying? Can you rock with the culture? Sometimes brothers get caught up in lust. You see, like Brazil can have you lustful. Brazil is a sexual country. Anybody that's been in South America know that they're a touchy-feely country. So you basically cats going down, getting turned out, and all of a sudden they in love. But how can you be in love if you don't even speak the language?
So
You know, come on, stop the fronting. You don't speak Portuguese,
uh,
bro.
uh, uh,
Stop the fronting, man. How you gonna, huh?
no, we got a couple. We got a couple people want to join. Right. I got two last questions, and whoever want to request to come live to talk to the Face of Travel and talk about some passport stuff, come on in. But I got two more questions. My last question was two. So my question is, what would your suggestion be to a new traveler if they trying to figure out where should I go first? What you gonna tell them?
You know what? That's a great question, man. I say what sparks your interest. Like how when I told earlier how I got to Rio was by looking at a advertisement in a magazine and remembering Ja Rule video. So just go. You know, everybody. What up, though, Rome? I see you.
What up, though,
Yeah.
bro?
My West Side partner, what's happening, man? Cooley's own graduate, bro.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah. So I would say like follow your heart and don't go against the norm because I notice a lot like in the States, a lot of people are conditioned to go like your first trip, let's go to Dominican Republic, let's go to Jamaica. It ain't nothing wrong with that, but try to like at the time when I went to Rio, ain't nobody was doing no spring breaks to Brazil, especially back then. So just go. I say just go against the grain and research and don't have a fear factor. Follow your heart. Don't go somewhere because it's the popular thing.
Okay. And so my thing is, if you giving somebody advice on, you told them just follow your heart, but like out of all the places you went to, what's the starter kit? The matter of fact, you know what? I end by this being my last question. Give people that's on the live right now, or the people that's gonna hear this, what's the advice you gonna give to people that have never been out of the country or don't have a passport? What is your advice based on that? And I'll bring them in. Go ahead.
My advice, the first thing is get a passport because once you have a passport, it's your passport. You've opened yourself up to the world now. You allowed yourself to come outside the box. So that's the first step is get a passport. The second step is don't let fear prevent you from going anywhere. I remember if my cousin on here, I keep it real. But I remember being out in LA, well, with my cousin, and I was trying to introduce him to opportunities to work abroad, and he was scared. I said, bro, you living in South Central. This is scary, bro. This is scary. Not getting on that plane overseas, bro. It's gangs and blacks and Mexicans beefing and Crips and blood, all this stuff. And you scared? Come on, man. So don't put out the fear factor. Then if you go into a situation where like I don't understand the language, maybe start with a country that speak English the first. Maybe just start off say I'm gonna go to London. I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go to a Caribbean island that speak English. You just need something that's gonna help you break that fear factor.
Okay. Hey, I appreciate the face of travel. We're gonna get Rome opportunity to ask some questions, Lim, and then I'm gonna bring Bishop on in here because Bishop going to a lot of countries too, but he gonna hit another angle too, just to be able to stir
All
up.
right.
So be ready, Bishop,
Okay.
because you Lim. Go ahead, Rome.
Hey, what up, though, bro?
What up, though, Ron? What's happening?
Hey, I can't pull it up now, I guess, because I'm live. But it was a young lady in here before I asked my questions. She was talking about she seen that you traveled to Trinidad. She wanted to know what your experiences were and what do you recommend doing out there.
Man, Trinidad was cool. I actually went to Trinidad off season. How I got to Trinidad initially, I supposed to have went to South Africa. It's funny, that trip didn't work out to South Africa that time. I ended up going to South Africa a whole lot of times. So I wasn't able to make that. So I picked Trinidad and I went there in May. It was cool, but Trinidad is known for carnivals and like I said, I think I would have had an even better time if I went there in season. Remember, when you travel, you're gonna learn seasons. So like you have rainy seasons, dry seasons. Like during our let me make sure I'm saying it right. During our summer, a lot of places is on their winter, and during our winter, a lot of places is on their summer. So I would say when you go places, especially for your first time, pick the time as far as the best weather. But in Trinidad, the food was good. The people were nice, but you want to go there actually during a time when there's an activity. Like I said, the most popular thing with Trinidad is Carnival.
Okay, that's
I bet. All right. Hey, so what I want to do is similar to what Los hit you with. So let's just say we got a young couple out there. You know, back in the days, let's say the early 2000s, they used to push Jamaica and Bahamas. That was the only two islands they pushed if you got married or whatever you wanted to go on a honeymoon. What would you recommend today out of all the places that you've been to for a couple that's traveling out of the country that'll be outside of
The
the
first,
the, the,
the first thing I want to answer as far as when you say that they push certain places. Remember, anytime certain places is pushed, it's an interest. So a lot of times it's the more powerful country. He has a lot of money there, or he don't want you traveling certain places, so you won't see what's really going on. So always remember that when you're traveling. But as to answer your question, the most romantic, nicest place that I've ever been to, the nicest body of water is that Indian Ocean. And the Indian Ocean is filled with beautiful countries. I've been to about all of them. From you have the Maldives there, you have Seychelles, a country called Mauritius. Zanzibar is being very popular now. I've been there. I've pretty much been to all those islands in the Indian Ocean, but Maldives, surprisingly. Sri Lanka is a sleeper. For y'all that don't know about Sri Lanka, Google Sri Lanka and southern Sri Lanka. It's absolutely beautiful, and you can get to these places cheaply through Dubai. So when you travel, you want to find hubs. And Dubai is one of the major hubs. But once you get there, you can get there to places cheaper. Johannesburg is another hub. Frankfurt, Germany is another hub. So Sydney, Australia is a hub to Fiji and Bora Bora and all these nice places. It's all about finding the hub. But I would say it's not hands down the Indian Ocean is out of sight. So I would say the Indian Ocean for a honeymoon if you can get over there. Now, if you can't get over there, and also depending on what time you're getting married, if it's the summertime like Rome, remember when you went on your honeymoon, remember you did the Mediterranean
hey,
cruise. You know what I mean? And I put
it
you on
wasn't no
that.
honeymoon. It wasn't no honeymoon, but it was just us taking a little getaway. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's right. It was a get. My bad. I
Yeah,
forgot, bro. It
yeah,
was a
yeah. It's
getaway. You're
all
right.
good. It's
I
all
forgot.
good.
Yeah, so many. I've been knowing you so many years.
Yeah, I know.
Years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, hey, so I got two more before I let Los do his thing. So we got a lot of single ladies on here. And
Yeah.
I noticed in 2024 there's some ladies that'll travel solo dolo. No crew, no
Uh,
nobody, they'll go somewhere. So let's just say you got some young ladies who would rather go somewhere by themselves or with a few friends. What would you recommend for the ladies trip, the girls trip?
oh, but them girl trips is interesting. Well, I done see some interesting girl trips along my travels, but we gonna keep it in a certain way. But but as far as that is concerned, because I have some female friends that are my personal friends that have traveled solo. I mean, before traveling even was a thing. But because I know women always talk about the safety issue because they're females. But my thing is, if a woman wants to travel solo, don't have the fear factor. Just make sure you're in a nice hotel, a nice hotel that has a name for itself. I wouldn't say do nothing off brand and get a feel for it where you feel safe and you feel protected. You know what I'm saying? So and go for there. So I would say, man, like even if the lady start off and went to Rome and England, because if you have a good personality and you keep it real, anywhere you get, you're gonna attract good people. If you come say with a positive mindset, you're gonna attract positive people. You know, I've never went places and not met good people. And I don't go nowhere disrespecting nobody. So if you go somewhere with respectability, you're gonna get it back. So that would be my recommendation to a female. Just make sure you have good
Uh,
housing
all
in a
right,
good
all right.
hotel.
Hey, I appreciate that last one. So I'm gonna rock the boat now because I know Bishop will be coming in here. So what would you
Okay.
recommend for the single brother today in 2024?
Ah,
Where should that young man go?
oh wow. You know, everybody always jump to Brazil because that's the most popular, man. But my favorite place, just man, I fell in love with it, bro. It's Cape Verde. Cape Verde, man, I love it, man. As far as a single man, I'll say Cape Verde in the island of West Africa. I'll say South Africa. Um, in Europe, I'll say Southern Spain, Sevilla. I fell in love with Sevilla with all the diversities of culture. Even surprisingly, you know, it's cold up there, but one of my best experiences, you know, was in Sweden. I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Then even as far as attractiveness, one of the most attractive sister girls that I ever seen in my life was in Sweden. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is Sweden. But Sweden is a very wealthy country that accepted a lot of people from war-torn countries, allowed them in and built them up and stuff like that. So man, Eastern Europe. I'm about to go on another European tour in July. I'll be out for about 30 days and I'm going through the East, Macedonia, Kosovo, Poland, up into the Baltics, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and places like that. You know, Australia too.
So,
Australia
so
too.
we at the 30-minute mark. I'm gonna let Lim come on in and then Bishop. So Lim, you need to go ahead and request again because it's not letting you join again. But I'm gonna try to get Lim on in here. We appreciate you to face the travel, but we want to get into shaking this boat with these passport bros. Like, okay, so why we get Lim on here? Lim requested again. But while we get Lim on here, can you tell us like what's your take on the whole passport thing? Like, you know, passport bros and them going out here thinking that they, you know, can discount the American woman and get a woman specifically overseas. Like, what is your take on that?
Well, it's crazy because I've been hearing a lot about these passport bros. Like I said, I don't know that much about them, but just from what I hear, but I understand the point where you coming from, and I can answer that in a lot of different ways. Um, and Los, we talked about this the other day. Everywhere you go, you have good women, you have bad women, just like you have bad guys and good guys. So just because you go out the country don't mean that it automatically is going to eliminate problems you might think you have with women in stateside. A woman is a woman. No matter where you go. And I think a lot of these people are giving false information and they're not being in reality. And a lot of them, man, are going places buying love. You know what I mean? Like you talk about, oh, this girl treat me so good in Brazil. You can't even speak Portuguese. So how can you find a legitimate one instead of just saying you paid for the night and she made you feel good? You went to Colombia, you can't speak Spanish. You pay. So I keep it real. They don't want me on here. I'm gonna keep it real. This was really going on. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Have I wild out at different places? I've been young. I've had money at the time. Yeah, I wild out. But I kept things in the reality. But but I've met some great women overseas with their culture, their value. They love being women. They love playing their role. But we got to think about like an American Los. When I talked to you the other day, we have a lot of good sisters and a lot of good women in America. We've been through crack epidemics. We've been through situations where men have left the household for many different things. So women are mad and embittered. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily like it was in our grandparents' days where you had the majority of the man in the household in the 50s and the 60s and prior to that. So it is a little frustration. Then in America, what is pushed is materialism. So a lot of times, if you ain't got a super large bag, you know, especially with a man, your self-esteem is affected. A woman would listen to the music. So there's a lot of things that play in our culture that is not necessarily in cultures everywhere else. Even though rap music is loved around the world. I don't really know I don't, just keep it real. I don't know a lot of the new music. You just want to hear. I don't like a lot of it. It's kind of crazy to me. Not knocking anybody in their youth, but I guess this girl, Sexy Red, she's very vulgar. But when I'm in India or other places, I don't really hear the women saying those type of lyrics and stuff like that. So overseas, I just noticed that they might be a little bit stronger on their morals because of the culture is a little bit different and family is first. And in America right now, because of so many different things, I don't think the family, there's a lot of women, they in America, they be on the independent, I don't need a man. I hear that mostly domestically. I don't really hear, I can't say I've heard women say that overseas that they're independent and they don't really need a man. I'm not saying that it hasn't been said overseas. I just haven't run to women saying that.
Okay, no, I appreciate it. It say Lim is not able to join, and that's how I was gonna shake the boat, right? I was gonna shake the boat based on that. If there's a tremendous difference from the culture difference, and everything is going down from what it used to be when Big Mom, they hate when I say this, but when everything was different from when Big Mom was here, and everything changed, and it seemed like they still got the Big Mama background. I know Jerky them hate. But what I'm saying to you is, so how could we be able to tell them the difference between the women out of the country that seem a little easier opposed to what's going on now? And that is why I was trying to get Bishop and Lim on.
What a woman outside the country, like I said, a lot of these people are they capping. I guess that, as we said in a day, they fronting. I remember MC Breed, if you remember the song back in the 90s, wrong, when he said ain't no future in your fronting.
Right.
So
yeah.
it's a lot of fronting that people are, that I see. Like for example, since Brazil is such a hot topic, when I noticed my times in Rio, a lot of brothers will come down there and they will only stay in the Copacabana or maybe the Ipanema area, but wouldn't venture out that area and go other places. Like, it's a place called, I kind of always mispronunciate it, but Barra Juca is like the rich upscale area of Brazil. So when I would go under that tunnel and go over there, I wouldn't really see no American. And this where the quote unquote upstanding woman would be, the educated woman would be the woman that you would actually want to wife up. But they over there in Copacabana and Funland, you know what I mean, in brothels and stuff like that. And all of a sudden they want to come back and say, oh, this woman treated me so good, and this is heaven, man. You just brought a good time, man. You can buy, you could buy a good time in America. You know what I mean? I hate to be vulgar like that. I just got to keep it real. So when you go places, if you're really trying to, if it's not nothing wrong, if a man from the States, he want to marry a woman abroad, you got to go somewhere set up and really get in that culture and live somewhere. I've lived overseas for many years. So when I go places like South Africa, I've been back and forth so many times. So I've immersed myself in the culture there. I can move around Johannesburg like I can move around Detroit. You know what I'm saying? So you have to really go set up shop somewhere and really indulge in the culture from a legitimate standpoint to really see the differences. And like me, I love foreign women, but I still love, this is my preference. Through all the places I've been through, and as many times I've been around the world, I still rather have an American sister because it's still some things about our culture that I enjoy. We could talk about, hey, you remember when this was popping back in the day? You remember when this song came out? So it's a lot of things that relate, and also one that has my belief system. Because when you get into these different places, they don't want to talk about it. If you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, but you in Mumbai, India, and they worshiping Buddha, that's gonna be an issue. And I've seen people flip. I've seen dudes flip and go involve themselves in other religions just to get a girl, which I think is lame because you're supposed to be a leader. So you want to go praise Buddha because you want this girl from India, but you really ain't on that. Man, you fronting. And I call it out, and I seen this. Then you saying, oh, all the women in America is gold diggers, but I done seen girls from other countries wipe dudes out for 40,000. I seen a dude buy a girl a house in the Philippines. He go check on the house. He couldn't even get in the house he brought because the family didn't know who he was. Hey, who are you? It's our house. And he brought the house. These are true stories. I ain't gonna call names. When you start talking crazy, I'll start calling names. So. But no, I don't want to get into. I don't want to get into the mess. Let's say what we gonna do. But I'm saying these are real things that I've seen. These type of stories nobody is talking about. So nobody's keeping it real about these particular things.
I wanted to break the barriers based on what they think about the passport bros. Bros going out there specifically for this. Obviously, I've been knowing you for years. I know you went to all these different places and you immersed yourself in the culture, but I think this was very, very important. For some reason, my live room, I'm not able to get Bishop or Lim on. So see if they can join on your side, because I can't get them in on my side. I keep getting a message saying they unable to join. So I know Lim was trying to get in. He had something to say, and I wanted Bishop to come in because I know that's going to stir the pot. So let me see. I think I can get. Let me see if Bishop could come, because Lim is saying he can't get in.
Hey, Lim, post your comments on here so we can present it.
Yeah. What up, though? Anybody that's on, I appreciate you being on. For those that's on, you know what I mean?
See if y'all can join through Rome's side, Bishop or Rome. They both on my side, but I can't accept them. I keep getting a message at the bottom saying they unable to join. So I don't know. My internet is good. I ain't like the face of travel. My internet is good. I don't know what's going on with the live, but I do want them to be able to see exactly what's happening and what's going on. And I want to hear Bishop's perspective. It's 4:30 in the morning over there, man. Like let's get because see, to me, I got 20 questions. But I don't want to take up all the time. I know our time almost.
But you know, this is me, man. We gonna do it again, man. So you know, what don't get taken care of here gonna get taken care of again. Cause I ain't going nowhere, man. I'm like the air, man. I'm everywhere, man.
I told him.
Yeah, I can't get those dudes. Post y'all questions in the comments right here, cause I don't see them.
Does it say view the request? I did that, and go live with Lim. I did that. It still won't let me. So I don't know if maybe let me exit you out, Rome, and see if that will work.
Okay.
Let me see if that works.
All right, my G.
Let me see if it worked now. All right, let me see. It might not work, Jay. At this point, I just want you to, because let's see, what's this question? There are pastors of the churches preaching the Bible and never been to the Holy Land where Jesus walked. What do you think about that?
Well, that's an interesting question, but you know, Jesus everywhere. So I mean, I think it's important if you're a follower of Jesus to get over there and walk where he walked. But the word of God is everywhere, man. So you mean Jesus is gonna get his word across in South Central, Jesus is gonna get his word across in Tahiti. You know what I mean? But I do believe if you're a believer in the word, you that should be on your list to be able to travel to places, biblical places, whether it be Israel, Palestine, Jordan. I've been to the Jordan River twice. I was just there not too long ago when Jesus was baptized. That, like I already told earlier, I climbed Mount Sinai, so I actually been.
Go Lim. Go ahead, Lim.
Can y'all hear me?
No,
Yeah.
you really are.
What up, though? Yeah, I hear you.
All
Yeah, I
right.
hear you.
All right. Hold on just a second, yo. So what I wanted to say to add context to that, I have a few statements I wanted to say. I think it's fantastic, Jay, that you've been all over the world. You conquered that black man fear factor, that he could come out of his own neighborhood and actually learn about the word. I love that. I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about the fact that
You sure you ain't the police following you? You keep looking over your shoulder. How we gonna be on the
now
phone?
I'm trying to
Looking
I'm
over
trying
the
to
shoulder,
park.
police following us.
I'm
Hey,
trying to park.
he in South Central for real. Hey, the face of trouble. That dude, what is he
All right.
doing?
All right, here we go. Here we go. All
What
right,
up,
I'm
though?
ready. All right. So here's the deal. Now, what I was trying to say is I have had people who are not saved have testimonies of going to the Holy Land and feeling something there that you don't feel anywhere in the world. Matter of fact, I was dating this doctor, and Carlos, he met her, and she said she don't even believe in Jesus Christ or the Bible. She said when she went to that Holy Land, she felt something that it was something there that wasn't anywhere in the world. So when I made that comment about pastors preaching the Bible, I'm not saying that doesn't you're not qualified to preach because you haven't been. But what I'm saying
Okay.
is there is something there. There's a when we talk about the Bible, we speak of it as it's in another world, it's in another planet. Those
Yeah.
places are here.
That's
They're
true.
here, right?
And, and, and-
Those men, Paul, Jacob, all those guys walked on this earth. But when we read the Bible, sometimes we forget because it's so far from our reality here in America that we act like it's in Mars or Jupiter or it's in heaven. And so I'm using that analogy to say that when the pastor is preaching that Bible, it for us to be able as followers of Christ to go there and feel that and have that experience is tremendous. That's the first thing. Last thing I want to say. I believe every black man graduating high school, don't buy him a car, don't buy him this, buy him a passport.
Yeah,
Get him
I
a
agree. I
passport
definitely. Yep.
because
Yep. Because the past.
that will open up his world and
Hold on, hold on,
that'll
hold on,
taking place.
hold on for a minute. Why I gotta be only black man?
Why? Because black men and traditionally the black family has been afraid. I used to counsel men in Compton and Watts. They were afraid to leave the projects. So can you imagine what
Yeah.
a
Yep.
leap it, you know what I'm talking about? Can you imagine what a
Yeah.
leap it is to have a young black man who's has never been outside his zip code to be able to dream enough to go to another country? What does it really do though? It opens up your world so you don't believe that you can believe anything's possible. If you go over to travel all over the world, it opens up your mind. You're not limited anymore. We as black folks are limited by our concepts of slavery in this country. Jay International
Mm-hmm.
spoke about that. Brazil has the largest amount of slaves in the world. They went there. That's not
Yeah.
our narrative. We act like
Yeah.
that's our narrative. That ain't our narrative. Slaves were dropped in Cuba. They were
Yep.
dropped in Brazil.
Yeah.
Come on now, talk to me.
Yeah.
They were dropped
Colombia.
In
Yep.
Haiti, Colombia, Puerto Rico. Come on now. So what I'm
And they
saying
went
is,
and they don't talk about the black population that's not talked about. And I've been there a few times in the South Pacific. The
thank you,
blacks in Fiji that
thank you.
came, Samoa, Papua New Guinea, the Aborigines in Australia. That part of our culture is ignored. I'm gonna get back there. I'm gonna probably get back. I'm trying to get back there probably in a few months to highlight that. But to get back on my man when you said pastors haven't been to the Holy Land. What up, Antonio? This is my best friend. He just got in here. He's the one that went to Brazil with me, and traveling changed his life. I got to, what the pastor just said, I want to interject on that because my best friend that just got in here, he was from the south side of Chicago, and he didn't even leave the south side and go to downtown Chicago till he was almost grown, bro.
Thank you.
So when my man talked about them brothers in Compton not leaving the projects, I know I got family in LA. I know about the Nicholson Gardens. My cousins lived in the jungle. So they people never come being afraid to come out here. But when my best friend that just got in here, Antonio, once he went to Brazil, it changed his life. And where he didn't, his life changed. He ended up having a family. He's a motivational speaker now, but Brazil played a major impact in him having a different level of belief in himself. So when my man said, especially for a black man, he needs that passport after high school and go somewhere. But I want to get back to what he was talking about as far as going to these places where biblical figures walk. He absolutely right, because my faith increased when I went to Israel, and increased when I went to Palestine. When I walked Mount Sinai, when Moses got the 10 Commandments, you couldn't tell me nothing. You know what I mean? And see, then even when we get in depth with the Bible, when we go to Genesis chapter 10, when you're dealing with the Table of Nation, and God is breaking down who is who. Like, say for instance, those that know the story, when Noah, after the flood, Noah had the sons. He had Japheth, he had Shem and
Yeah,
Ham. Okay, one of Ham's sons was Cush. Cush is Ethiopia. I got to go to Cush. I got to see it. Then that the oldest Bible was in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a majority, a quote unquote Christian country, one of the original Christian countries. So all this, I said, and then this strengthened my belief. Even when I went to Egypt, because you have brothers that go to Egypt, man, and get to tripping because they never been taught correctly. Next thing you know, they serving statues. They serving the pyramids. I'm like, the pyramids is nice to see, but this is still man-made.
right,
It's nothing about this pyramid that's making my life better.
right.
You know what I'm saying? But if you don't have the correct information and the correct understanding, you will fall for everything. But you're right. If you, especially being a believer, go to these places, and it because it enhanced my belief system.
And Ethiopia, speaking of Ethiopia, one of the only countries that never was colonized by white folks. That's another
Yeah,
thing.
that's true. Yeah, it never was subjugated. And when I went there, that's the only place that I ever went in the world. It wasn't even a McDonald's there, and I've been there twice. I didn't see it. I ain't never went nowhere and not seen a McDonald's. So you're absolutely right. They never was subjugated. And it was one more in West Africa, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's what's the one in Africa where they came back? I think Liberia when Marcus Garvey
Yeah,
when they came back.
I think it
Yeah,
is
and that one
Liberia.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah, Liberia.
it
Yup.
is Liberia. Liberia's another one, right? So Jay, man, let me tell you what you've done, brother. Is you've opened up a lot of minds. I've seen you. I met you on the, we had our first show, and I just appreciate you so much because you are a wealth of knowledge. You become and I don't even know if you know who this is. He was a famous historian, a brother I really admire, and he was out of Chicago, and he was a politician, and this man just went off the map, and became a historian. He actually went against Larry Elder in a debate here in the Merck Park, and his brother Steve Coakley,
Yeah, I know who
brother
Steve
Steve,
Coakley is. Yeah, I
brother
definitely know who
Steve.
Steve Coakley is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you remind me so much of him because what he did, he challenged popular thinking. He said, I'm going to do my own research. I'm going to take my destiny into my own hands and I'm going to challenge conventional thought. And how did he do it? He started traveling. He started reading. He started becoming a historian. So this is what our folks need, man. We just need more of that. And I really appreciate you coming on the show, taking time, brother, to enlighten many. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say. The misnomer is that all brothers are going over there to have sex. We got to talk about that. We
Yeah,
got to talk about that.
Well,
that
Bishop,
that's
man.
false.
Well, Bishop, man.
That, that's
Got
that
33
that's it.
minutes.
That's a false narrative. But one thing about me, I'm gonna be an honest person. You know, I'm a man. At the end of the day, there's been situations where I have wild out before in life. We just gonna keep it real. But the times I did that, that's been the least of some of my. I look back at that, even at the time, said, man, that was a waste of time. So the majority of my trips, man, I've gone to educate myself, bro. So that is the conception. If you're going somewhere just to have sex and chase women, bro, you're not traveling, bro, because you can do that in America. You're not if you're going just to chase women, you're not a traveler. I remember looking at an interview, right, about a rapper by the name of Jim Jones. I remember just looking at an interview, and he was saying how he's been everywhere but nowhere, because he made the example is that he would fly into that particular country, go to the club and do the show and leave. So so it's almost like he didn't go. So this is the same thing. If you go somewhere just to party and drink and sleep with women, you really ain't been there. And I got a story. I'm not gonna call his name out, but I'll never forget this.
Hold
I'll
on,
never
before
forget
you
this.
tell the story.
I,
I'm gonna exit you limit to try to get Bishop in because
Okay.
he ain't letting me at him.
Okay.
Go ahead, tell the story, Jay. Go ahead.
I'll never forget this story. This was I was at this time I was working in Kuwait for a company out there, and I was about to take these these brothers to South Africa because I told them how much I loved it. And one of the guys, he was just so interested in just chasing women. And I was like, man, bros, I mean, the beautiful women out there, beautiful. They're gonna show love, but you know, it's so much history and so much knowledge in South Africa. And this shit, and I said, do you know about the apartheid? The brother didn't even know about the apartheid. So I said, how you gonna go to South Africa and don't know about the apartheid? Not you don't even want to have nothing in you to go there to research what's going on there. You know what I mean? He said, I'm If you go down there and say that, the people of South Africa gonna feel disrespected. How you gonna come to our home? You don't even know about what's going on here. It's just like the situations when I remember I first started coming to LA back in the day because I got a lot of family there. I've never participated in the gang, but if you're moving around LA, you better know the gang culture. Because I remember I almost got myself in a situation on Crenshaw with an all red jacket in, and this is when it was really going down in LA. You know what I mean? When it was really up. You know what I mean? So you want to have knowledge bases before you go somewhere. Just learn something, and so that can prevent stuff from happening to you. You know what I'm saying? But the best things about my trip is going somewhere and learning stuff, not chasing women. And I'm a man and I love women. But even when you look biblically, when all the men that emphasize on women, they had the greatest downfall. Solomon started serving false gods because he was chasing tail. David killed the man on the altar over a woman. So anytime your mind is just on women, you're gonna make a bad decision. You see what I'm saying? Like even Magic. You know, I love basketball. Magic from Michigan, a great player, but ultimately him being with a woman in every other city, we know what happened to him. So you never want to have that mindset. But there's a lot of brothers that I know like myself. One of my good. But let me tell you how I know we got time. I'm going to tell you how traveling. This is a true story about my brother Calvin. He's a dude out of Boston. Back in the day, he was a big drug dealer, right? And this is how. And this is a true story. He ended up meeting the guy, and he said, man, and they got cool. He said, man, I want you to come to Brazil with me, man. And he said, okay, cool. But he was so street, he didn't even know that he needed a passport. He thought he can just go get on a plane and go. So long story short, he figured out how to get a passport, got a passport, and when he went overseas, he stopped selling drugs just from the experience there. And he was making millions in the game. He stopped. This is a true story. I'm not exaggerating. He left Bentleys and he didn't even know where he just left them in Boston. All his luxury cars. It's because he had so much money stacked up. He just stayed overseas, never sold dope again. When he had a quick relapse, but not that long, but eventually left drugs alone, learned how to make money legitimately, and never was in the game again, just because of that vacation. If he never took that trip to Brazil, he would have stayed selling dope.
It won't let me get Bishop in for some reason. It keeps saying won't let him connect. I knew he had some heat. I wanted him in specifically because I knew he was ready for this. But I don't know why it's not letting him join, man. Bishop, any questions you have at the end before this thing cut off? Because I mean,
I see my man. I think I see my man who he says there's nothing wrong with a single man wanting to travel to experience different cultures and different women. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. No, there's definitely nothing wrong because I've experienced different women in different cultures. But I'm saying you still want to have a mindset to want to learn. You know what I mean? Because if you just, you know what I mean. Even with the women, if you get out, if the guys stop running into just the brothels all the time, you can meet a good woman out there and she can teach you the culture. And I'm not saying like I'm a real person, like I never not keep it real. I've wilded out before. You know what I mean? I've been through that stage. So I'm not saying I've been through that stage, but I'm saying it's more rewarding when you go to travel to get that learning experience.
No, look, I appreciate you slamming down the misconceptions of traveling. I really wanted Bishop in here, but so is there anything you can leave us with? Because we know we're going to do a part 2, and we're going to do a part 2 when you're where? Because you're going where?
Well, starting July 5th, I'll be in Europe for 30 days. So I'm starting I'm starting in Cyprus, an island not too far from Jordan. Then from there, I'm going up into the former Yugoslavia, Macedonia, Kosovo, Poland, and I'm going to end in Spain. So, you know, and I have a whole lot of, it don't matter, man. We can do it twice while I'm in Europe, man. So we might want to do the first one actually when I'm in Cyprus, because I have a lot of people that's coming from different places to meet me there, so they can jump on the live and you can see how I was able to bring people from different parts of the world there to make it happen. You know what I mean?
Okay, so one more thing while I'm still trying to get Bishop, but one more thing. What about the misconception of Africa, right? So all our life they told us, if you want to donate to a kid, and then they show the boy with the little flies on them, et cetera, hit us with the Africa. I want it for you. The face of travel, Uganda. Tell us about Africa.
Man, I love the continent of Africa. Man, you know, I started saying many years ago called Africa for Life, bro. And all there's so many misconceptions on the continent of Africa, man. I've been privileged to I've traveled to 18 different countries in Africa, bro. So I've traveled the country extensively, and I have a desire to at least hit about 12 more. So it's 56 countries in Africa. My desire is to do about 30 of them that really have my high interest. And it's so many misconceptions, bro. When you get over there, they don't like you. It's people in America that don't like me. I've been to Africa, man, and I got so much love. I heard a couple of times where people didn't feel me, but that's just part of life, bro. But go to Africa. And I say if you have a fear factor in it, start in South Africa. You know, it's very well developed, and let that be the cherry to break you in. But man, I've loved Rwanda. Was one of the most rewarding experiences ever in Africa, because when we think about Rwanda, we think about the movie Hotel Rwanda. And when I got there, I got checked about that movie because they said that movie was a bunch of bull crap. Now it really happened. The genocide really happened. Don't get it twisted. But the way that movie portrayed it, it was wrong. So for those that know about the story, study the genocide of Rwanda and get the real story. But this is the traveling. When you go places, you get the real story. You get the real story when you go places, man. You don't get the Hollywood version. So I ain't never been no Hollywood person anyway, because it's highly weird. You know what I mean? So yeah, Africa, you gotta go. I loved it. And one of the best places I've been to in Africa where I received love was at the top. Their tourism was closed down for a long time. They had some things going on, but it really opened back strongly in 2020. But when I went to Algeria, as you posted that video in your story, man, the love I got there was crazy, man. You'd have thought I was Marvin Gaye in the peak of his career, man, and as much love that I got out there, you know.
Okay, cool. I know we wrapping up at an hour mark. Is there any before we close up out of here, because we wasn't able to get your boy Bishop on, unfortunately. It just keeps saying at the bottom unable to join. I got his request, but it ain't coming through. But any closing remarks that you have for us? We know the specifics of the Colombians. It's a lot of black people there, a lot of black people in Brazil. It's a lot of people look just like you and me. It's a lot of misconceptions of Africa. You talked about Morocco, Madagascar, a lot of places I know that you went. We always call you before we even do this, and we know you because it's 4:30 in the morning. So is any closing remarks?
Man, I just want to say, man, God bless everybody, man. I thank Jesus. I thank him for dying for me. I thank him for giving me the opportunity to see so much. But my thing is, if you don't have a passport, get it and learn things for yourself. Don't believe what the media tell you. You know what I'm saying? Please don't do that.
Okay, cool. So hopefully you'll hit us with the part 2 when you are in Europe.
Yeah, we're gonna do the part 2. We're gonna do the part 2 when I touch Europe, man. It's gonna be magical.
Okay, and then you'll call us Bada Water with your Bahama mama while you over there touring the world.
Yeah, we gonna make it happen. Even, man, I'm up to, man, we can do a part 3 too, because I will be in Europe 30 days, so we can at least do different countries. If y'all want to do it, I'm down for it, man.
Man, we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Jay. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. How can the people reach you if they want to reach you?
Man, on Instagram, man, I'm the face of travel on Instagram. On TikTok, the people told me to get on TikTok, which is really blowing up for me. I'm the face of travel 202 on TikTok. On Facebook, I'm James Lil Washington the V. But hey, my Instagram right here, man. I'll be the face of travel, man, for sure.
Hey,
Hey,
Ron,
and shout out to all my people in the state. Shout out to the beautiful state of Michigan, California, Chicago, New York, Miami. Don't get it twisted, man. I've been everywhere, but I'm still from the States, man. And the States cultivated who I am, bro. So I love home.
Yes. Hey, keep feeding us that good information with your urban vernacular. These are things that we need because you're able to still break it down when we can understand it. We all feel comfortable with you breaking it down. I remember the video while you got in the Jordan River. We love that, man, because at the end of the day,
yeah,
closest a lot of us going to be to Jordan and Africa and Israel. And so all these places you go, a lot of people on the live have not been there. So we just appreciate you taking time out, showing us love. Ron, please put his Instagram in the chat so they can mark it down. I can pin it. That way everybody could get it. We see he yawning. His time is 4 in the morning. We appreciate y'all, man. Thank you so much. The face of travel.
All right, for sure.
All right.
Peace out, my G.
All right, baby.
My God. All right.